Alright, I'm doing the editing breakdown video that I promised for 100 subs. Thank you all so much. First off, I only started this channel, I think, 4 months ago or something crazy like that, and it's already at 100. And just for doing some fun ranking videos with friends. But anyway, first off, this is the editing software that I use. It's called DaVinci Resolve. There is a paid and a free version. I only use the free version. Everything that I use in this video to make my videos is free, and so there's no cost required, and it's super easy for anyone to get into. But pretty much you open up a new project, it'll start on this, you go down to edit, and then the first thing I have is the little pop-in that describes what it's going to be. For example, the practice one I'll be doing today will be for Conro, so I'm going to switch that up to Conro. And this is just the center reveal. You can see the name of what exactly it is up here, and it's just within Fusion titles, center reveal. I have some custom fonts you can download. You could just search up Microsoft fonts. I'm using one called Geist. There's Geist Mono, Geist Variable, there's a bunch. Pretty much that. The size looks like this, and it's just pretty simple. That clip just runs for 3 seconds. You can see the timeline here. This is, I don't know, it's useless. This doesn't really mean anything because this is minutes and this is seconds and then this is milliseconds. And I will try to keep everything on the second mark and not have anything run into milliseconds range and stuff like that. So that's pretty much that intro thing. And for example, let's put in the Saint. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look on the waveform for something like this. You'll see these peaks, they go up and down, but then usually at a drop, they will flatline, they'll clip out. And that's because the bass usually comes in. And then just here, you hear the kick. I usually go just before the kick hits using the arrow keys on my keyboard. Then go up to the blade tool, cut it there, and then cut it somewhere else along the line. Then I'm going to click and then hold Control and click again to select both the clips and hit Control X to delete them both. And then I pretty much just drag this up and I line it up with my pre-done texts. So this is middle, lower third, and this just is the position of the track overall and the average score. I use Geist Variable Black and Geist Variable Light for the two different things. I like to make the text a bit different to differentiate them. And you also want to have a drop shadow on with an offset of 5 and -5. Just pretty simple stuff. It will help stand out against white backgrounds. Otherwise, it's just going to be lost. And that you can find the title just here, and you adjust the position like so. And then for each of these, it's just a basic text one with Geist Variable Black is my choice of font. Size 60 gets it to roughly this size. I have to do a smaller size because I have a lot of participants now. But before, I think I had it at 70. But pretty much you want to just make sure they're all positioned equally through the y-axis. So I think they're all 90 pixels apart for me. I'm not sure. And then of course drop shadow on this as well. And you're pretty much just gonna layer them up. These are all your different tracks. They will look like this. They'll look extended out. I just like to bring them down because I don't need to see what these are because it just says that the text right here. But each of those do have a, I think the fade in is a second. Yeah, the fade in is a second, and the fade out is also a second. And the initial text of the position placement that comes in first, and that doesn't have a fade in, but it has a fade out, same length, 10 seconds, a second. The reason for not having a fade in at the start is because I'm gonna sync it up with the drop, and so you want to have that impact, and it's just fun to look at. It makes it a bit different, so you're not all the same. But anyway, I've lined up my clip with the drop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the end, and then I'm going to move it over, and using the arrow keys, just bring it back to exactly a second after, and then drag this so that's clipped there. And then I'm going to drag this all the way out. So usually if you have placements after this, you'll only drag it to 3 seconds beforehand, or at least that's the timing I like to go with. So it's 3 seconds, drop for 10 seconds, 1 second to transition. And you're going to cut for specifically the intro one, you're going to cut it here, which is going to do that. And because these are linked, it will cut them both. If you'd like to only cut one, then you can unlink it. And I'm going to go to Open Effects, and I'm going to select Gaussian Blur, and I'm going to just drag that on. That's one of the free plugins that comes with the program, and you can see that's already applied its effect here, and that helps distinguish the title that you've added in. And then I've got these favorited, but you can find these in the video transitions. You can just favorite it to bring it to your favorite sections. There's a cross dissolve, which is what I use, and a cross fade 0 decibels. So what the 0 decibels mean is it's not going to boost the audio or drop the audio in the middle of the transition. For example, the -3, it will have the audio start and then go down in the middle of the transition, then back up. And so this just keeps it the same, and it allows for very smooth transitions. But I'm not going to use this because I don't need to for this first one, but I'm going to use the cross dissolve and apply that there, and we'll be able to see what that looks like here. Super simple, just gives that bloom effect, and it's just a nice look. And it's the power of blurring. And what I'm going to do, because I don't want to start it just like that, that's boring. I'm going to drag this knob, and I'm going to make it 1 second. So the intro is 1 second. And then I'm going to select this dot and bring that down just a bit. And what that will do is this. And then obviously you can drag the middle there to bring the difference down, because you only need one audio track. You don't need multiple, but you will need multiple video tracks. And that's what the V here stands for. It's video track, video track, video track. There's 2 types of tracks. There's an audio track and a video track. And if you want to mute them at any time, you can click that to mute the audio, and then you can click that to disable the video. And so if you want to see what just your text looks like without the video, you can just do that. But then you can re-enable it to see. And you should have all your results, and you just be able to input them manually. But what you can do is you can then select all these, you can copy them. I'm just going to move up ahead. For example, say this is one, I'm going to go, okay, so it ends here, and I want the 1 second before the transition, and then the 3 seconds after before the drop. So I'm going to look at the time here, and I'm going to go up to 52, and then I would paste it. And then that's the time you've got between them, and you just keep doing that, and you can paste further and further. And now adding on a second clip. So let's say the Saint was the last place track, which is not the case. And on my way up is the next one. What you want to make sure you do actually is when you drag it in, you don't want to drag it on top, because that's just going to replace what you had. So you make sure you drag it in and it's to the side with a little space. It's either like that or it's a further apart. It doesn't matter, because it's not going to clash with these unless you bring it up there. But then that's just going to annoy your audio tracks. But you can see here, this is probably the drop. Yep. And I just get it, so it's just before the kick. I click that again, and what you want to do is you want to deselect everything, then reselect it, just in case you've got one of your text boxes selected still. And what that's going to do, you're not going to see it, and then boom, it's going to delete all of them. So you sync that up, you drag it to there, you go 1 second after here, and then it's just as simple as placing the audio cross dissolve and the video cross dissolve onto it. And what that's going to do is this. Simple. And then obviously you've already got it synced up with the next one, and you just input the scores, and it's pretty much that. I'll do the outro, or yeah, the final one. Obviously, you want the final track, the first place track, to have more of an importance, and so you'll drag in, let's say it's City Lights, which is one of the best Conro tracks in my opinion. So that's one thing you got to be careful when looking at waveforms, is some tracks will have like a fake out or a kick and then a drop and then into the proper thing, like that. And you don't want to clip it on the second kick, because it's going to come in and your audience will be expecting the initial placement to come up. And having it so that the initial placement comes up first and then the second scores allows for you to clip on the fake out, then have the fake outs play as part of the drop. But it's up to your personal choice what sections of the track you'd like to sync up to these scores. But pretty much I put that in, and then I've already got this set up so that it's 1 second after the end of the scores, but then it goes on for 4 seconds, which is a bit longer than the intro. And that just allows, because I've got more text here. And obviously Conro, World is not next. The next one after Conro is Noise Storm. So I'll put that in there. And this I've just got pretty much set up like the intro, center reveal. And I'm just going to drag this out to there. I'm going to input a 2 second fade. So this is longer because you kind of want the ending to be a bit longer, fade out. And you're also going to cut it so that the Gaussian blur comes back in, which is under Open Effects. Drag that over and a cross dissolve, and it'll look like this. Simple. But yeah, and then obviously there'll be a previous clip here, and you'll sync it up there. But obviously you've got to fill all these out, so it does take a bit of time, but it's streamlined, so you're able to do it relatively fast once you understand how it works. Next up, I'll focus on inputting last place placements. So I will use the data that I've got for the for one of the Conro tracks, but I'm not going to say which because that would spoil it. But obviously the 62 to rank for Conro, which is a lot, but 62nd place, I've got my spreadsheet. So the way I'll show how I've ordered that later, and I'll also show how I get the videos later. So I've input the last place, which is 62, and then I'm looking at the average score, which is 57.71. I've placed that in, and then I'm going to go to my score, which is 61, but that's not last, and so I'll keep going. The next one, 59, still not last. The next one, 55, not last. 52, it's the same. 61, another close one, but it's not last. 54, and then 62. Now I have more tracks than I need for this ranking, so I'm just going to disable them like that. But 62, this is the last place placement, and what I like to do is I like to signify and show that this person has put this in last place, or this person has put it in their top 15, something like that. For example, for Conro, I will just say what is a quarter of 62, and it's roughly 15. So the top 15 will then get an extra thing. But you're going to go down to the stroke, and then I've got these colors pre-selected. So it's that for top 15, that for last, and that for first. This is if there is over like 70 tracks, which I did that for pegboard notes because I wanted to add a little extra in, so it's not just a lot of white the whole time. It gets a bit boring to look at. And so I'm going to select red, which is just top left, full up, full red. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to bring it up to 10, and then I'm going to select outside only. And what that's going to do is that's going to only apply this stroke to the outside of the text. So I'll make it a bit bigger, and it won't take away its readability, because if I turn that off, it's who put that score? But then I turn it back on, and there it is. And pretty much it's going to look like this. For example, if you wanted to do that, then it's that for a top 15, that for a first. Pretty simple stuff, and you can just change it through that. You've got to make sure you got the right one selected though. And it's pretty much as simple as that. It's just doing it for every single track, and make sure you bring it in. Once your video is complete, you want to go to delivery, to this section here. You're going to obviously choose your location, and you're going to name it, for example, something like that. I just do that because that's the acronym of the series. And then you're going to make sure it's set to MP4, the H264 codec with native encoder if that's possible. If not, you should just select auto if you're not sure. Make sure the resolution is 1920 by 1080 and the frame rate is either 29.97, 30, or sometimes 24. Really depends on the videos that you're getting. But you're not usually going to be able to get 60 frames. So here's what the spreadsheet looks like for me. So on the left, I've got the track name. I've got the people who are ranking it up the top. And then I've got all the individual scores here. And what I've just done is these are all the same, but I've done some formatting, some fusion for FX. I forget what the exact terminology is, but you apply it up here. So what I've done is I've typed equals average, and then within brackets, I put the values B2 to M2. And what that's going to do is it's going to select all of these, and it's going to give me the average of all the numbers that are in this position. And that's what I have there. And I format that to have only 2 decimal places. And pretty much do all of that. I apply that formatting to all of these cells. And that's going to do that for everything, B to M, and then dependent on what row it is on. And then once these are in, I just look with my eyes. I don't have any specific formula. I just go, oh, 17, that's the highest number, so that's going to be last place, because it's like golf. The lowest is the best because it's positioning and it's not score. And so then I put that in 22nd, and I look, because there's a gap here, I look one up. So there's 22 songs, 22nd position. I do that for all the tracks. And then when I'm referencing the spreadsheet for the video, I just select the row, and then I've got everything highlighted. I can just go through one by one to input the data. And here's how I get the videos. So obviously I go to YouTube and I copy the link address of the video that I want. And I won't explain the exact process, but this is an amazing website that allows for you to receive 1080p videos. A lot of other ones only do 720, and so it sort of looks bad, but you can use this website. It's just cobalt.tools. You just got to put that in and you can use that. So when I upload the videos to YouTube, they're going to be partially blocked, or they're going to have copyright restrictions. That's just how it works. Monstercat specifically allows for the content to still be on your channel, and you'll still be able to have people watch your videos, but you won't receive monetization, which of course makes sense because it's not your content. But pretty much I have the title up here, and then I just explain what's up next, and then I tag the people that I include in the video. Simple as that. I don't usually put it in the title because it would take up extra space, and I want to show as much as possible. But yeah, the end screen is pretty simple. It's just subscribe and most recent video, and I make it so that it only applies when the blur comes into effect. Once that's done, you're going to design the thumbnail. And so what I use is another free program, which is similar to Photoshop, called Medibang Paint Pro. And despite the name Pro, it's still free. And then you're going to start up a new, project. And you're going to make sure it's set to 1920 by 1080p. Obviously, that's what you want for YouTube thumbnails. That's the recommended size. And so you're going to start with just layer 1. And it's going to be simple as that. I have a lot of previous layers set up here, but I've just disabled them so you can't see them. What you're going to do is you're simply just going to go over and search out Conro SoundCloud Monster Cat, and you're going to go to images, and you're going to have a bunch of 500 by 500 images. That's what I use, and I just do a collage of different release images. So I'll go through and I'll just download a bunch, and then what I'll do is if I copy it and then I place it in, boom, that's just in its position. And I get another one, a Control T to move it, and I just move it over and I make sure it's lined up like that. And then I just do that to end up with something like this, and apply, I group them all up, which you can use this button here to merge them, and then apply a Gaussian blur at 30, and then boom, you get this effect. And then what I do is I get a text over here and I input that, and this one I forgot the exact font, but it's probably the same fonts as I use in the video. I get that, and then I copy and paste it. I Control T, I drag it to line it up, and then I move it under the text layer. I go back to Gaussian blur and just apply that again, and that will get me that. This one's a bit stronger. I'm not sure what I did there, but yeah, pretty simple stuff. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to search logo. And usually the one you're going to look for is Monster Cat Wiki, and you just copy that. And for example, this one, it's got a black background. All you need to do is you need to go to blending and then add. As simple as that. You move that, put that in position, and then you grab your pen, put the brush up to about 30, and then on a new layer underneath the logo, you're just gonna do some simple drawing and apply Gaussian blur to that as well. And then that's gonna give you the glow. Simple, simple, simple. If, for example, if you download the image and it looks like this, you're just going to go up, you're going to reverse the color, and then do the same effect. That's pretty much it, and that's your thumbnail. Then you go up to File and you export it out 1920 by 1080, and you click OK, and you save that to where you'd like to save that, and then you apply that to the thumbnail section. And that's pretty much the breakdown of how I make my videos. So I hope this helps you guys to make your own videos or make them better or stuff like that. But yeah, thank you for 100 subscribers.